obviously the Warriors have that experience there. If the Celtics were to advance, how do you think they would fare?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think the Celtics match up pretty evenly with the Warriors. And the whole thing about the Warriors is, they have been there and they have done that. But it kind of feels like outside of, Steph, Draymond, and Clay, this is kind of a completely different team
Yeah.
than, the dynasty that they were back in 2015 to 2019. So, you have guys like Andrew Wiggins now, Kevon Looney. I think he was on that team, but he didn't have a bigger role as he does now.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of guys like Jordan Poole and Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga that are coming off the bench who are super young, but they're super talented at the same time. So I think they stack up pretty well with the Celtics. And I think one thing, if Robert Williams is healthy, the Celtics can exploit is the fact that they really don't have a lot of big men
Mm.
outside of Kevon Looney.
Yeah.
Because I kind of noticed that watching the games versus the Mavericks, and it was just like, outside of Kevon Looney, what else do they really have to stop a lob threat like, Robert Williams or even Al Horford to a certain extent? So if the Celtics can attack the paint even a little bit in the NBA Finals versus the Warriors, I think the Celtics, they can win this series, even though it's a super tall task and it's obviously easier said than done, but they stack up pretty well against the Warriors.
Mhm. Yeah, because I know, because I mean, the Warriors would have had, Wiseman to match up down low, but he's out for the year with his knee injury. So obviously that's been a major blow for them. But I don't know how I feel about the Celtics. I mean, so far they've been, I mean, they matched up against the, some former experience in, they had Kevin Durant and Kyrie, to establish, veterans who have made it to the finals there. They took care of them handily. And then the Bucks series too. I mean, they were able to beat Milwaukee in 7 games. So they've had their way with those guys. I just don't know how I feel about the Warriors though, because of just how consistent they truly were. It wasn't just like a flash in the pan thing, which is kind of what Kyrie, did when he had his finals experience. Obviously Kevin Durant had been there longer, and then you compare that to Giannis too, who made it there 1 year, and granted he had a great series. He played the Suns very well, uh, but I just don't know. I mean, I think size wise, I think we're in good shape. I just don't know if there's going to be a mental hurdle for this team because what I've seen from this team so far is physically we can play anyone. That isn't something I'm worried about. But this team seems to get in their head a lot, and that's been a major concern of mine. So if they can avoid that, I think we'll be in good shape going into the series, and it will just have to be whoever may the best man win. But my worry is that, this is the finals, it's going to just be another mental hurdle that they're going to have to get over, like the Eastern Conference Finals has been for them for so long with this young core.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, the Celtics have made the Eastern Conference Finals. What this is like the fourth time in 6 years, I think.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a mental thing. It kind of feels like sometimes where they should be able to get past a team. For like the example, the bubble. They're the better team, but they just can't pull it out. And I kind of agree with that in a sense, but you also kind of have to look at outside of, the main core of Golden State. It's kind of a lot of people on the Warriors' first time in the finals, too. So,
True. Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to look at because honestly, I would credit Ime Udoka with kind of, keeping the Celtics on track because, like you said, there are times where it kind of looks like they're just out of it and they're in their own heads and they're just, not playing the way that they know how to play. And Ime Udoka has been able to kind of reel them back in and kind of be able to get them focused again. And, all coming down to one common goal, which is pretty much winning the championship. And it is kind of going to be interesting to see because, in my opinion, it kind of looks like the Celtics and the Warriors kind of play the same brand of basketball.
Yeah.
It's not like super physical on Golden State, but they do have guys that can play super physical, like, Draymond and Kevon Looney and, all of their rookies and Andrew Wiggins, all the guys that they have, they play a pretty physical defense, just like the Celtics do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of going to be interesting to see, the fact that the Celtics have so many versatile defenders that they can throw on to guys like Steph and Clay. So it'll just kind of be interesting to see what they do